Gemini, hello there, my beautiful friends. We're going to do your general tarot reading for mid-May 2024. Thank you so much for joining me today. You know I appreciate each and every single one of you. So let's get right down to business as always and start you off with an oracle card here, just so we could dip our toes into energy and see what's happening for the lovely Gemini collective out there. My guides and spirit team, talk to me about my good friends, the Geminis, and I hope you're all doing fantastic. We're getting very close to your birthday season. I believe next week I'll start wishing y'all a happy birthday. But yeah, we're just going to take a real quick look at this first card. Then we'll get into the full reading itself. And at the very end, I'll pull you a bonus card from the Shadowland Tarot just to see what might be in the shadows or what shadow work you can lean in on, which is always interesting. But let's get it going here. Let's rock and see what we got for Gemini in mid-May, please. Guides and spirit team, what energies, what messages, what's swirling around the collective here for my good friends? Okay, all right. This card is kind of a double-edged sword. Now, it isn't necessarily too rough, but there's also good messages aligned with it too, so just go with the flow here, my friends. You see the puppeteer there, like pulling the strings, so that's something we're going to want to watch out for. But before we fully dive into that, if you're new here, I'll be speaking about the May subscriber surprise towards the end, so you might want to check that out. Also, if you could kindly illuminate that like button by tapping it right on its third eye, you know, I'd greatly appreciate it. But enough of the promo, into the reading. Let's talk a little bit about this card. So the imagery there, at first glance, it could seem a little concerning. We see this jester and it's kind of pulling the strings, playing with the puppets. So of course we need to think of things like that, like stuff going on behind the scenes or who's pulling the strings. And I don't want to say that this is a card of manipulation, but it's just something might be going on where you're not seeing the full picture. That's what I always think when this card is here. However, there's a really good lighthearted side to this card as well. It could be about having fun, having a good time. So like if you want to just toss that other message to the side, Spirit could be saying, hey, Gemini, maybe make some time to have a good time, to enjoy yourself. Now, everyone has different hobbies. Everyone has different likes and dislikes. Depending on what's been going on in your life, Spirit might want you to cut loose a little bit, have fun, make some time for yourself. That's because this person's literally playing with dolls there, right? So I feel like that could be a very valid message, and I do feel that for a good portion of you. You might just need to cut loose a little bit and enjoy yourself, which could be really good. But there's also this thing about like a situation going on where there's like not all is seen at the moment. So we're just going to put it down right there. Let's get into tarot. And I always say the first card, it doesn't make or break the reading. It's just a little footnote. So let's get you 3 cards in the upright, and we'll get into that intuitive juiciness. Let's see what's happening with Gemini, please. Shuffle it up one time, my God, spirit team. And yeah, while we shuffle this up and get it ready to roll, let's talk about last week's reading. Now, for weeks and weeks now, I've been seeing this interesting mixture of fire and air energy around the Geminis, which could be really good for moving things forward, for action. It can also be volatile. Last week's reading was titled An Explosive Talk, so keep in mind, even moving into the coming days and weeks, there could be some explosive conversations and communications, either ones that pop in out of nowhere or ones that get a little hectic. Okay, so let's see what we have for you this week. As you know, energy is very fluid. It's never set in stone. So only take this how it hits for you, because we could be seeing your vibe or someone that you're linked to. Let's get it going. 3 cards here for Gemini. Guides and Spirit Team, mid-May. We're getting ready for birthday time here. Okay, we have the High Priestess. So yeah, as I said, there could be something where like you don't quite see it at the moment because she is very mysterious, but she could also be spiritual, right? Like she isn't all doom and gloom. Just put her down right there by the amethyst. She could chill out for a minute. Let's get a couple more cards for you, my friends. What do we got for Gemini, please? 2 more. Okay. So yeah, there is a little bit of a stress-induced type of energy showing up as well. Let's get 1 more, then we'll really like piece this all together. Okay. I mean, that could also be someone you're linked to with like fear of the unknown. That's a big possibility. Okay, we have the King of Wands. So just as I mentioned, we have this little mixture of fire and air that is still with you. Okay, now this doesn't necessarily have to be a rough thing. It could all be about like where you're putting your energy. What are you focused on in this time? So let's go through. I'll give you some of the classical meanings and archetypes, and we'll get into that juicy intuitive stuff. So at first glance, I'm looking down here. We do have a little variety of things, because although we have the fire air mixture on the back end, we got some heavy water energy as well. Okay, and there's that little stress induced type of energy in the center that we're absolutely going to want to explore further. Both of these cards have a little air of mystery to them because they're like kind of a dark, obscured type of energy. But let's go through piece by piece and really start to build this out. So position number one, we have the beautiful High Priestess. Classically, she is linked to the Pisces collective. You might be linked to Pisces. I like to link her to all the water signs. So Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. I believe they all have High Priestess type traits. Now, who is the High Priestess? She is the matron of psychics, intuitives, and tarot readers. She represents all sorts of different spiritual endeavors like meditation, astrology, all that good stuff. So you might have an extra burn in this time for any sort of spiritual research or any sort of spiritual topic whenever she's in the mix. She represents knowledge, important knowledge, sacred knowledge. It's very deep, this type of energy. But what's the big thing with the High Priestess? She's not talking. Very silent type of energy, a little mysterious. So she could be speaking about your intuition. She's a powerful aspect of the divine feminine. You might have something tugging at your intuition in this time, where you're getting gut feelings about certain things. But I always say with the High Priestess, there is just something similar to that very first card that's obscure, that's not quite seen. So she could represent the unexpected, the surprising. And that doesn't always have to be a bad thing. But your intuition and energetic sensitivity could be extra heightened in this time, especially with her next to this Nine of Swords. So just keep that in mind. Like, you could be feeling the feelings of those around you, or your empathy could be heightened. That's the big thing I want to say. Now, moving over to the center, we have the Nine of Swords. And I always say this is one of the cards in tarot where you do not have to be proficient. You don't even have to be an expert to understand what this card means. You see that person, they're laying in bed, they got the hands over their face. Now, this doesn't have to be your energy, but I always say I mean, for some of you, might be having sleep issues, right? Maybe you need a little more rest. Maybe there's something keeping you up at night. But this could be somebody else too. It's very stressed and anxious and nervous. Since it does also take place at night, I always say there's a little sense of mystery and the unexpected with this card as well. Often this card does speak about, if we're not talking about nerves and anxiety, somebody with a little bit of fear about how something's going to turn out. Like, is this going to turn out okay? Like a little fear of the unknown when it's here. Another thing with the Nine of Swords, I link it as one of my paranormal cards, similar to the High Priestess. So just know, like, your energetic sensitivity is like through the roof in this time, or it will be if it's not right now. I mean, for some people watching, you might not even truly believe in that. I mean, that's your prerogative, but I'm just saying there's an extra sensitivity to how you feel energy and experience it in this time. And you could be having more paranormal experiences than normal. Okay, just keep that in mind. Now, as we move to the back end, we get our little dash of fire energy that has been with you for weeks and weeks now. We have our good pal here, the King of Wands. Now, kings in tarot represent control of their respective suit. Wands, that's all about passion, drive, desire, very fiery. So just like last week with the explosive talk, the King of Wands tries to keep all those energies in check. I often say, if this isn't a fire sign you're linked to, so Aries, Leo, Sag, the King of Wands is trying to figure out, where should I put my energy? Okay, am I wasting my energy? Am I putting it in the right place? Where should I put it to get the optimal results? This is very entrepreneurial type of energy as well. So there is a big focus on how you move things around. And we want to look into this way further if this isn't representing a person. Okay, it is powerful. Okay? And when we mix the elements, I mean, there could be something keeping everything in check, if that makes sense. But I want to dive deeper on all of it, Gemini. Let's jump in and clarify. All right, let's get a good shuffle here and see what's happening for the Geminis, please. Guides and spirit team. And yes, my friends, this is where I go intuitive with the message, which means I just tell you how it feels to me. So feel free to do further research or rely on your base knowledge of tarot, because as you know, every single reading is about the reader's interpretation, and I'm just giving you mine. Let's go in on that High Priestess. And yes, if you're a reader yourself, please feel free to play along. That's why the box is here. If you're feeling any messages you want to give to Gemini, you could drop it in the comments. I don't mind at all. Okay. High Priestess. What's she doing here? Why is that High Priestess in the mix? Thank you. Wow. Okay, so these cards are the exact divine masculine, divine feminine aspect of each other. Okay, and I always say, like, especially when they both show up in the same spread, it's kind of like the sun and the moon. The High Priestess, the Magician, very, very powerful, very spiritual, extremely energetic. Now, this could be really, really good for a lot of you. That's one thing I will say, because the Magician represents manifestation to me. It represents creation. Sometimes it could even represent control. So, I mean, for another portion of you, I need to go back to this very first card in the beginning. Aside from the manifestation, which we'll touch on again, the Magician could represent somebody trying to control a situation or trying to keep something in check. So for a lot of you, there might be a person where it's like, okay, well, what are you really trying to do? What are your real motives? So I could say, when I see this and we link it up with what we saw here in the beginning, there could be a person you're giving the side eye to, or there could be a person where it's like, all right, well, I can't quite figure out what your motives are, what you're trying to do. So there might be a person you have your eye on here. That's the rougher message that I'm seeing in the mix. So there might be a situation that you need to keep tabs on for sure. But another thing I will say with the High Priestess Magician, there could be something that you've manifested that comes in out of nowhere, like really quick, surprisingly unexpected. So just know, like, if you're purposely manifesting something, Spirit could like deliver it much quicker than you think. Okay, so just keep that in mind. I feel like this could be really good. There's a lot of spiritual work at play too. That, I mean, take that for what it's worth, but there's someone doing a lot of spiritual work at play here in the front end. We're going to keep moving. I mean, so 3 main messages there. I mean, there could be a person that you're either keeping tabs on, or maybe you should. Like what are your intentions? What are you doing? Let's go in on that 9 of Swords. So yeah, there might be, let's see how this all plays out. So why is the 9 of Swords here for Gemini? Thank you. Okay. Yeah, watch out with like specific coworkers, watch out for work situations for a good portion of you. We have the 8 of Pentacles in reverse. There is a little bit of stress here. Okay, there could be something that you used to love working with, an energy that you loved working with, or something you used to love to do where now it seems to become a chore for a portion of you. I feel like this is a split message here, and it's either going to really resonate with some of you or it's not. Now, I will say, if we are linking into a person where you're like a little suspicious about their motives, or that you're keeping an eye on them, specifically if it's someone that you have to be around for one reason or another, this is going to take a little bit of a toll. Okay. I don't think that they're in the best place either, if that makes sense. Like, this reading is really taking a couple of different turns, so only take what hits for you. For some of you, if you're in a good place, if there's no one that you're like a little skeptical about, then don't worry about it. But for a big portion of you, there might be a person that you probably should at least like keep an eye on, like their moves and motives and stuff like that. But that other message I'm getting here too, remember, it doesn't have to be yours. With the 9 of Swords and the 8 of Pentacles in reverse, it's like, I don't want to do this anymore. There is somebody that's like very stressed out or anxious and nervous as well. So we're getting all these energies and they're coming through very, very quick. So there could be something you used to enjoy that you don't know, you don't like doing it no longer. Okay. Or there's a possibility for that. And you know what? People change. Interests change. Things change. Sometimes you're the one that needs to enact the change, though. Right? If it's something that, let's keep moving, because I feel like this reading is splitting off, like it's fracturing, and this is very odd. Usually, like when I do readings, yeah, it'll split in a couple different ways, but now I feel like it's splitting this way and that way and that way and that way. Like there's so many different possibilities. Let's move over to the King of Wands. Feels very fractured, if that makes sense. So let's see what the King of Wands has to say. I mean, that could tell us that some of you might just be going through a lot right now. We're like really feeling and experiencing a lot of different energies that might not all be yours, right? Because I do get this outside energy influencing you. Okay, let's go in on that King of Wands. And if you watch me week to week, you know this is very outside of the norm of the type of messages that I pick up. So let's go in on that King of Wands. Okay. Yeah, 4 of Wands in reverse. So there might be somebody where you feel like, once again, very fractured message, because I'm getting lots of things going through my head here. This is somebody that you might feel they don't have your best interest at heart. Okay, so once again, we'll take it in sections since this reading is fracturing so much. For a portion of you, if there is a specific person that like there's something off with their energy, like intuitively it's like, they don't have my best interest at heart, or you feel it, or you know that they don't have your best interest at heart. Another thing I'm picking up here with the King of Wands, 4 of Wands in reverse, it's like, all right, well, this person is coming in and they're making changes for no damn reason. Like, if it's not broke, don't fix it. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. I mean, these are odd messages that are coming through this week, Gemini. But once again, we did speak about change in the middle. When I see the King of Wands with the Four of Wands in reverse, that also gives me another message. If there is something that is making you miserable, if there's something that's bothering you, or you're not happy with it, it might really rest upon you to really put that change into motion. Okay, so once again, tons of different messages here. Only take what hits for you, if any at all. You could check your other alignments. But let's go through and do a quick recap here. I'll try to summarize all the different things that were coming through. And there was even more coming through that I wasn't even saying. That's what I meant by like how this is so fractured in different places. But let's go through piece by piece. So position number one, we started off with a bang here. We have the High Priestess with the Magician in the upright. This could be really good for a lot of you. So maybe something that you have been manifesting will be delivered very quickly. That's very optimistic and positive. But for a portion of you, you might be having difficulties figuring out what someone's motives are. Like, why are they doing this? What's the deal with you? Like, there's something about a person you might feel is a little off. So I did say there might be someone you need to watch out for or beware of in this time. So just watch the company you keep for sure, especially with this in the front end. But for a lot of you, there's someone doing a lot of spiritual work too, which could be really good. So just keep that in mind. I feel like there could be outside energies influencing you as well. Moving to the center, we have the Nine of Swords with the Eight of Pentacles in reverse. Lots of different messages here as well. So once again, this could be someone that they used to enjoy doing something. They don't enjoy doing it much long or at all anymore, where it's like, I just don't want to do this anymore. Another vibe I'm picking up here, someone could be very anxious and nervous and uptight type of energy. Watch out for work situations and things with coworkers as well, because that's showing up here too. So stress in regards to that. Moving to the back end, we have the King of Wands with the Four of Wands in reverse. Now, if we are talking about that person that we saw in the very beginning, you might intuitively know or think that this person doesn't have your best interest at heart. But another portion of you might feel like someone's coming in and they're like making changes for no damn reason, like they're trying to fix something that's not broke. But for another portion of you, you see what I mean about this fracture? If there is something you are really not happy with, or something that's making you miserable or not working for you, it might fall on you to make those changes. So please take a screenshot. Let's see what's in the shadows here, Gemini. I mean, that was definitely the most unique reading I've done in quite a while, just because it went in so many different directions. It didn't just stay on one. Let's see what we have in the shadows for Gemini. And yes, I always like to pull one shadow card at the very end just to see whether it's something within you or something you don't quite see. Shadow cards don't always have to be a challenge, though. They could be a good thing. Let's get you one. And yes, if you've made it to this point in the reading, please feel free to check out channel memberships. I'll put a link for it in the comments below. It's a beautiful way to support the channel, and I have much love for all my members. I really do. Let's get you one shadow card here before we close it down. What's happening with Gemini, please? Thank you. Okay. High Priestess again. Even in the shadows here. Okay, so a lot of those messages that we were speaking about the empathy, energetic sensitivity, spiritual work, all that stuff, something that you're not quite seeing is reiterated again, because this is in the shadows, and this is a card that's generally very comfortable in the shadows. I feel like for a lot of Geminis, whether it is like energy you're just picking up or energies that are influencing you, this High Priestess showing up again is like, I can't believe she showed up again in the shadows. Like, I'm kind of stunned that this even happened. So I mean, the messages are very simple, very similar to what we saw here in the very beginning. For some of you, if you are connected to a water sign, their energy is still affecting you. But if that is not the case, this High Priestess in the shadows just reiterates a lot of the things that we've already been seeing. So Gemini, that's what I have for you this week, my friends. Don't click away just yet, though. I'm going to give you the details of the May subscriber surprise. If you would like to book a one-on-one personal reading with me, you could check out my digital calendar at mastermetaphysics.com. But for the May subscriber surprise, we're doing a winner's choice this month, my friends. 2 lucky subscribers will get their choice of either the Everyday Witches Tarot, which is a wonderful deck. It's one of my favorites. Or you can choose a crystal pendant of your choice from my website. They're homemade. The energy is luscious. They're beautiful. So it's winner's choice there. So if you'd like to get your name in for that, it's 2 simple things. As always, my friends. First, you must be subscribed. And second, let me know down in the comments where in the world you are from. You don't have to give me your home address or anything like that. It could be your country, state, province, whatever it might be. You'll be entered to win. And at the end of the month, the winners will be announced in my community tab. As always, my friends, much love, and I'll see you again soon.